And Catalina's just sipping some nice warm tea. Mm.
Alana, you know you do not have to drink that if you do not want to. We?
See?
You do not have to order it if you do not want to.
Okay.
And she looks at you like, that's crazy talk.
You do not have to pay for it and then not drink it.
Leans over conspiratedly and goes, but we are here incognito. See?
So I am told. However, I am wondering if there is nothing more to discover in this village. There is no one who seems to know anything, and we have been unable to uncover anything else on our own. Catalina, that messenger bird must have reached your friend by now. We?
My friend should have received word by now. It is a shame that we could not get the information from the thug that we knocked unconscious next to the grave. Unfortunately, the threat of burying him alive did not yield any results.
I think he knew nothing. He was probably hired, and that is all.
Yes, a typical buffoon.
Well, I suppose if there is nothing left for us here, then it would be best to head back. See if he has made anything of what little we were able to find. She was here, she is dead. But no, she is not dead, but someone else is dead. It is...
And now there are two of them alive.
I suppose there are two. But their leader is dead.
She nods.
Marguerite's like, can one of you learn each other's language? Because I'm just always in the middle here.
Uh-huh.
Alana's happy that way.
What, not being able to speak to Catalina? Alright, I guess we are heading back.
Carriage pulls up, not right outside Roberto's, but on the street, where not far from. You exit it. You see one of the riggers from the penance walking towards you, but he's not looking at you. He's just gonna walk by, and as he's getting close, you see he flicks down into the palm of his hand a note. He stumbles just a little and bumps into Catalina, and he sort of drunkenly sort of says, excuse the senorita, and sort of rights himself and keeps going again without looking at you. But Catalina can feel the note has been pressed.
Is it me or did he look familiar?
He is.
We need a drink.
Alright.
At a nearby tavern, we'll take a table with some drinks and sit down, and Catalina will open up the note. And she looks up and she says, "This note is from Fenric. He wants us to meet us in an alleyway just down the road."
That is a little more subterfuge than I expect from Fenric. He had someone secretly deliver a note to meet him in an alley.
See?
Then I suppose it must be something very unusual. We at best go.
See? Head off to the
Alleyway.
rendezvous.
Well,
See?
now it is.
And Catalina will have her hand on her dagger,
Marguerite will step
Ready.
into the alleyway.
ready to draw out and throw at the
At Fenric.
nearest.
Fenric.
The nearest
Fenric.
large target. So, you guys got my message. Fenric steps out from behind a pile of trash that had been left there in the alleyway.
I believe it is safe to assume we got your message and did not simply come to this alley for fun.
Were you followed?
I do not know. She looks behind them like, anyone there?
Fenric kind of pushes past you and looks down the street either way. You had me looking into some dangerous topics.
We did not ask you to look into anything.
Well, you asked Roberto, who contacted me.
We did not ask him. We simply told him what we found, which was, frankly, not very much.
Well, I've spent the past week looking into different things about both Helga Schmidt and Mueller. Looks like Schmidt is a real person, but the only way to find out more information, well, it's restricted. The only place would be in
Restricted ow.
The only place to find it would be in the archives.
What
which is not open
archives?
to the public.
What archives?
You know, the archives.
I do not know, or I would not ask.
The archives are a
Archives
record.
of Castile? Archives of what archives?
They are a record of the history.
I know what an archive is.
Yes, it is a place that holds archives.
What? I am asking you, which archive? Where is this archive located?
It's in Castile. Anyway, if we want to get into it, we will either have to bribe someone. I don't recommend that. Or sneak in. Someone else looking into this as well.
Maybe. That does not surprise me.
I have been followed.
Followed by...
An assassin.
How do you know they were an assassin? Presumably they did not kill you.
They tried.
Ah, and what did you do?
I managed to escape, and they lost the trail. But I'm worried they might try again.
Possibly not the same that attacked us then.
Anyway, I haven't been back to the ship or to Roberto's since then.
For a week?
Yes, for a week.
Where have you been staying?
Fenric looks around.
You have...
You can see that some of the trash has been kind of piled together into a makeshift bed.
Unnecessary. Go back to the ship.
I guess I don't want to bring assassins back to the ship. If they're still following me.
Well, here, you go take it up with the captain. I have already had this conversation with the captain about 4 weeks ago, where I said, look, it turns out there are people looking for me, and they are very dangerous, and so I can leave the ship. I do not wish to be a problem. And he says, No, you cannot do that. Everybody here has people searching for them. What do you think you are so important for? Whatever. So go back to the ship. You cannot live in an alley.
I think they were trying to find out more information before they killed me.
Oui, but if you find out about them at all, they are not a good assassin.
This archive, where is it in Castile?
I can take you there. Did you want to head back to the ship first?
We should probably return to the ship so that we can place our belongings from traveling there. I do not believe it would be best to try and sneak into an archive with luggage.
San
Yes,
Augustine?
We'll have to wait for nightfall anyway. I assume that is the best time to sneak into an archive. I'm not an expert in sneaking.
And are we bringing Elana to this archive, or shall she stay on the ship?
Alana, how good are you at sneaking?
I was going to say, hears her name and she looks over.
He wants to know if you are good at sneaking.
She crouches down and quietly sneaks behind him and then pounces on him.
Does that answer your question?
Catalina
Yes.
just wipes the front of her forehead.
I was watching her, and she still managed to sneak up on me.
Then she can come if she wishes. Alana, do you wish to sneak into an archive? Très bien. Then I suppose we shall head back to the ship and then infiltrate some sort of archive. I am still unclear on this. What are they archiving? Just everything that has happened in Castile? But then this woman, she is not from Castile. So,
It's not only things happening in Castile, it is the location where they house all of the information that Castile has about both of its enemies and its allies. It is a very large building with lots of information.
well. Let us go back to the ship first.
Now that I'm thinking about it, we may need a plan for locating the information once we are inside the building as well.
I cannot claim to have any knowledge of the filing system of the National Archive of Castile. So I shall not claim this knowledge.
Alright. You lead the way.
And Marguerite heads for the ship.
Catalina will follow.
Brennick nods and follows as well.
You arrive.
Tell all the sailors Alana took out 2 more people.
Can they understand her?
Yes and no.
Some of them know Vodace.
Some
Yeah.
Some of them
some don't.
definitely can. Some of
Yeah.
them would just know the random words she's picked up in other things. But they all probably understand charades.
Mm-hmm. There's lots of biffing and boffing, and they appreciate that.
We do not want to harm the guards of the archive. That
No.
could bring unwanted attention.
No, we do not wish to fight anyone, just to enter unseen. Alright, I suppose we should prepare
See,
and be on our way.
Fenric is washing himself off washing all of the street grime off of himself. And eventually he will return to the deck of the ship.
So Fenric, you will have to lead the way to this archive, and do you know of an entrance that is, well, it would be too much to hope for an unguarded entrance, but less visible?
I didn't get a chance to fully scout the area since that was when I noticed I had someone following me. But I noticed there are some flags hanging down that could potentially be scaled, and some balconies. There are plenty of glass windows that could be shattered. I noticed there was a sewer grate nearby as well, if we wanted to take that route.
I would prefer to avoid the sewer if possible.
I would as well. There seems to be two sets of guards, ones that stay in place by the main entrance, and ones that walk around the building.
Very well. Lead the way, I suppose.
Alright. Are we ready to do this now? Anything we need to do before we go?
Catalina, are you ready?
See,
Alana, are you ready?
She salutes.
It seems as though we are. Let's just go.
Alright, follow me.
Marguerite follows.
And Fenric leads you through the streets of Castile, winding various different ways. You get the impression that he's not taking a direct route, like he might be zigzagging a bit. And you can see that he's nervously looking over his shoulder to make sure you are following. He's also glancing up at the rooftops. But eventually you make it as the moon illuminates the courtyard leading up to the government building.
Time
This is
for
the
approaches?
place.
Oh. Oui? It seems to be a large building.
this is an unremarkable place. Not like the archives in Vatican City.
So Fenric is going to approach the building from the side, and there's a door there that has one guard standing watch. He is going to wait for the guards that are walking around the building to get out of sight. Then he will come into view of the guard on the side of the door and say, "Hurry, come quick! Someone's getting robbed! Please help!" And he is going to dash back the way he came around a corner. The guard will kind of look around to see if there's any guards that can take his post, and there aren't any in the immediate area, but he sees that the other one's just disappearing around the corner. So he is going to do a light jog over to the corner, which he rounds, and Fenric is right there. He will slam the butt of his gun into the head of the guard as he rounds the corner, knocking him unconscious. I'm fine with that being a change of approach. So one of the raises would be to lure him away, and then the other two would be changing the approach to like brawl or something to knock him unconscious.
Wondering what the heck Fenric is doing. Catalina gets ready to start sneaking in, and the guard follows Fenric away from the door, and Catalina looks back at Marguerite and Alana, motions for them to follow, and she runs straight for the door.
Yeah, Marguerite is still. I mean, her approach is to just be hidden and observe what's going on in order to stay hidden. And what's going on is the guard left. So now's a great time. So she's also making a run for the door, and will reach it, I assume, since I'm spending a raise, and enter unseen. Oh, never mind. She will reach the door. She will not enter it. The door is locked.
Quick, give me the pin from your hair.
Oui. Marguerite will pull out a hairpin and hand it to Catalina.
She bends the pin into a form that she wants and slots it into the door and starts jiggling. And you can hear the guards talking to each other around the corner and off down the distance. And they're getting closer. And after a few moments, you hear the click of the lock unlocking, and she turns the handle and the door opens.
And Marguerite will look to make sure Alana is following and enter as well.
And Alana goes through with a flourish, flicking her long coat.
Hurry up, Fenric, get into the building.
And Fenric is going to wait in the shadows for the guards to pass again. He makes a motion for Catalina to close the door.
Okay, Catalina shakes her head, closes the door, and from the inside she locks it.
Well,
That's
are
going
you
to make this a
doing?
little bit more tricky.
What are you doing? Fenric needs to enter too, no?
If the guards test the door, they will need to know that it's locked.
Fine. Once they are gone again, unlock it.
I would not leave the door locked. And Catalina waits at the door for the guards to go past until she's...
And there's two guards, and they stop outside. And they have a look. And you can't hear them, but you can see them talking. And one turns around and goes over to near where Fenric is. And he's looking down the alley. And you're thinking they're looking for the missing guard. And after a couple of minutes of getting close to Fenric, he turns and rejoins the other one, and they head towards the front to see if he's there.
Once
If
they
they're
round
gone?
the corner of the building, Fenric will run up to the door. Gives a knock on the door if it's still
has he
locked when he
tried
gets
it?
there.
Okay.
Catalina
Yeah,
unlocks
you
the
can
door.
hear the handle jiggle.
Yep, and Catalina will unlock the door.
And Fenric will step inside.
Why did you wait so long? And she closes the door and locks it again.
I didn't think I would be fast enough to make it inside before the guards came.
Well, we are all here now, so...
What is the information we are looking for?
Marguerite looks to Fenric.
We're looking for more information about both Helga Schmidt and Mueller.
So we are looking for somewhere they would have information on individuals instead of... I do not know. They must file things by some sort of subject, we?
See, I have studied at the university in the Vatican City.
As and where do you think they would keep it?
Under personals.
Personal? Like personal ads in the newspaper is what it made it sound like. We find, yes, Helga Schmidt is looking for someone to go on long walks on the beach.
Walks on the
and
beach.
enjoy drinking a glass of wine in the evening while listening to the radio.
And Alana's sitting across from
Okay.
Catalina, leaning over the book, not understanding any of it, but
Looking
And
very detailed. Not detailed.
looking very attentive.
It's like,
Catalina's
yes.
reading through this giant tome of what looks to be names and listings, and she's scrolling her finger across the pages, and she looks up. And looks over at Marguerite. I have found the Miss Muller, and it looks like that she has spent some time in Castile, but she was listed as a noble and a merchant.
Wait, she is a noble, but from Eisen. She could have stayed in Castile for a time.
Well, she has permits, all paid for.
Yeah. She has all her permits and what?
All of the permits that were assigned to her name have been paid for, and
Hey. That is not remarkable, no?
but what is remarkable is that there are no records which would indicate that she has come into any legal matter whatsoever. Not even a late fee for rates or a late fee for a permit for shipping or an infraction against importation or anything of the like.
So there is nothing?
There is nothing for all intents and purposes. Her record
And-
is extremely clean.
And this is odd how much of nothing there is?
See, no one is truly this perfect. Either they are excellent at hiding the true nature of the business, or they are going out of their way to maintain such a perfect record so as to go unnoticed.
That is possible. Was there anything else, or is there not
I
much
am
about?
unable to find anything more on this, Miss Muller.
Well, Marguerite has been flipping through pages while listening to Catalina's information about Muller. Well, I have found nothing on Magda Muller. However, there are some things about an Elga Schmidt. She from Eisen and has done work for several families. She delivered babies and also cared for children. It does look as though she worked for Muller for around 10 years, but that employment was ended perhaps eight years ago. There are some things that appear to have been removed. However, from some of the references given by families she worked for that did provide some description of her, it would seem quite possible to me that Elga Schmidt may, well, have been put in the grave labeled Elga Schmidt.
So you're telling me that the woman known as Helga Schmidt is the one that we found in the grave?
I do not quite think so. In the village, they knew Elga Schmidt to be the woman we know as Magda Muller. In the painting of Madame Muller, they said that is Elga Schmidt. She owns the inn. I think that this Elga Schmidt we have on record, she would be the real Elga Schmidt, I suppose, as there are records for her going back from before this time. I think she is dead, and I think before she died, her name was being used by someone else. Namely, Madame Muller.
I think I found something over here as well.
About which?
Well, it's about Helga Schmidt, technically, but if we're assuming that that is Mueller, that might
I
make more
think it depends
sense.
on which time.
Seems fairly recent. Well, reoccurring.
What
It's a little bit
does?
hard to find, but it looks like there was monthly payments to Selig Schmidt.
From who?
Selig Schmidt.
No,
I
no, no,
don't
no.
from Helga
From Elga?
or someone named Helga.
Oui, and?
Uh, it seems like that name is not entirely accurate.
I see.
It
Or
says
not.
that Selig Schmidt has a teacher's license and has passed college, but I can't find a birth record for them.
And this Selig Schmidt, who do you think she is then? If that is not a real name.
We saw a crib in the painting. Perhaps the child is Miss Muller's.
So if she... So Magda Muller had a child and she gave her a different name so that nobody would know it was her child. And what did she send her to live with this Elga Schmidt? If she has the same last name?
It sounds possible.
Either way, Elga Schmidt is dead now, the first one, and Magda Muller cannot be using that name anymore because even the name Elga Schmidt is now dead. They have buried her.
Gee,
So, from here, where do we go? We can track down this child. We can. I do not know.
I say we track down the child.
I think that sounds like a good idea.
It does not say where she is a teacher, Fenric?
Into college where she graduated.
Yes, I can see where she graduated from.
We could cross reference the license to get the information where this teacher is currently assigned, but we would have to go to the education records.
Perhaps we shall go. Then let us be on our way.
And she's trying to pull her cloak a bit tighter, and a book goes pachunk onto the ground.
I thought so.
And from the first floor, you hear, "Did you hear something?" You hear a couple of guards, not running, they're not like on alert, but you can hear them on the stairs, but they're a couple of floors down.
No, you
I-
did not hear a thing.
I believe now would be a very good time to leave. Come on.
We are leaving.
Marguerite starts ushering
Closing
people
hours
out
are
of
now
the
in
building.
effect.
Okay, well, you might as well give me an approach now.
Sounds like we're gonna need to take the quickest way out of here. And Fenric walks over to the nearest glass window and kind of rips part of his shirt and wraps it around his wrist and his fist and smashes out the window. And he looks out the window and sees uh, the banner that goes down the side of the building with the royal insignia on it. And he will grab onto it, slide to the ground. And he's using his resolve to hold on as he slides down so that he doesn't just let go and fall.
Marguerite is slightly surprised that Fenric chose to punch the window, as she would have taken a chair or something and thrown it out, but nevertheless, he has created an exit, so she is going to leap out of the window, grabbing not onto the banner itself, as Fenric is currently sliding down that, but onto one of the ropes that is hanging down next to it, and she will begin sliding down the rope just like she would on the ship. And she will make it safely far enough down the rope that she can let go and drop at a reasonable distance from the ground.
What's Alana doing?
She has been spending time in the rigging, so she has run outside and stuck her dagger in one of the big flags and used it to slide down, cutting the way, which slows her down. And then when she gets low, she drops off and lands with a flourish and spins around, and is sort of disappointed that there's not really people to see how brilliant
Marguerite will clap.
She appreciates that. She gives a sort of curtsy and then runs into the shadows.
And Marguerite will run after her. She was waiting to see if she got down okay.
Catalina sees the three jumping out the window, or climbing out from the third story, and she's waiting for everyone to get out. And by the time everyone gets out, it's a little bit too late. She hides underneath the table as the guards run up to the window, looking out. She pushes the table up into the air and over onto its face, and she slides down the stairs to the next level and darts down the next 2 flights before unlocking the door and running out into the darkness.
All right, I guess we make it back to the ship.
The ship has been at sail for 2 days. The first mate has been doing a child's book to Alana and about half the crew, using chalk to write on the wall just below the helm area. So that's what they're doing at the moment. Some of the crew there already speak it, but they don't write it. So they're... whether or not they were truly interested, although it does look like they are trying proper, and not just trying to make Alana feel bad as being the only one who was doing this.
Marguerite's observing.
And the captain finds you, and the captain just sort of there, and he says, "We have received a message. A set of coordinates for an island. James Kidd and Thatch are there. They have requested our presence."
Who is Thatch?
He is a bit of a wild card, but very respected pirate. Fearsome individual in a fight.
Well, James Kidd we helped, but how does this Thatch know of us just through the other pirate?
I have met him a couple of times, but it is quite possible that it was Kidd's recommendation.
And what is the job, or is it a show up and find out sort of a thing?
I have no idea what it was. The message was, "We request your presence, and it is to our benefit."
Then are we to go?
We are on our way now.
C'est magnifique.
We had received a message from your friend also saying things were... How did he put it? Rising of temperature and letting things cool a little would not be a bad thing.
I do not know if it is bad that I do not know whether he speaks of the issue we were looking into itself or the fact that we broke a window in the National Archives.
Do not know. And then a day later, it looks about 2 kilometers in rough size, so it's not huge. You can see a secluded bay, which is down the bottom, and there is 2 ships within it. One is the Strumpet, the other is Queen Elaine's Revenge,
Ooh.
and they are both at anchor.
All right, well, Marguerite will get ready to go ashore.
Was there a reason that we are meant to be meeting the 2 ships here?
We do not know yet exactly. It is a job, but they are going to tell us when we are here. They say to meet them, and it is for our benefit.
More
Also-
piracy, perhaps?
Oui, I should think so if we are to meet 2 pirates. I much prefer this to going searching through records for someone who may have started a war or politics. Anyhow,
I do not know, but I do find it discomforting to sail across the ocean when the
Oh.
ship could sink. But knowing that you have been on the ship,
this ship shall not sink. No,
see,
not until I set foot on another one and...
so please do not set foot on another ship.
Well, it is only if I am on 2 between the penance and the penance you must fret. We should probably simply bring Alana along this time, otherwise she will...
I have no problem with that. She did fine last time.
If she wants to be a pirate, let her be a pirate.
I would say she is a pirate.
Marguerite is ready to go.
Catalina is ready to go. She'll grab her bag of tricks and
You take the boat across, and it's very, very basic. It's a very pretty island. There's a waterfall, which looks like it's fresh water. A very nice smell to the air. Feels very clean and very fresh. And you can see that there is a shipwreck off to the side. Looks like it's been there for a while. And there's about 15 people, mix of pirates. And you can see James Kidd. And there is another larger individual. Looks like he's in his 50s. Big, dark beard. And he's got about 5 pistols and a special sort of rig across his chest that it looks like he's just going to pull and use. You know, it's a large cutlass slung against his hip. And James looks at you as you approach, and he says, "Oh, so you've been pulled into this as well." The other older pirate sort of glares at him for a moment, and he turns around and looks at you and the captain. "It's time for a republic. Something we can call our own. With sweat and toil and hard work. No governments. Built by honest pirates. This will be hard work turning this into something. Yes." And he waves his hand before Kidd says anything. "There is the pirate nations, of which we've all signed their charter."
Pardon me, we appear to have arrived partway through the conversation. What exactly is it you wish to do?
A nation. Our own pirate nation. Decided by us.
Decided by who? Just this year?
And James says, "Well, we would need enough to form a working leadership."
What exactly have we come into here?
who lays claim to this land?
We do. It was uncharted.
So what exactly is it you would have us do here and now? I suppose is our question.
Agree to the principle of forming our very own nation. Anywhere you go, from Avalon to Castile to Montaigne, they hang people like us. We survive in ports by them not knowing who we are. Every nation that we herald from is not truly our nation.
Marguerite's looking interested in the idea.
You cannot call somewhere home that would dangle you from a length of rope.
And what else would you change?
We need buildings. We need docks. We need guns. We need to be able to protect ourselves.
And how does our captain appear to be taking this in?
He seems to be pondering, thinking. Kid, like, there's a lot of risks. There's always a lot of risks, kid. They'll kill us anyway. Make a stand, lad. Have a home. Why now? I'm getting older. I'm in my 50s. How long do you think I can keep this up? Piracy's a young man's game. Mixed with that, some of these fleets have been hunting us a lot more regular lately, and there's something else out there. You're rolling the dice every time we do this. How long do you think we can keep this up? We've been lucky. I've been luckier than most. But mostly what do? We get enough coin just to go a bit further, and just enough coin to go a bit further. I don't want to die on the sea, especially not to some Castilian gunboat or pirate hunter.
And how will this nation change that?
We could start to trade more than hunt.
This is not a terrible idea.
And on top of the hill, you can see what looks like a old temple ruin.
What was this island before? There is a shipwreck, there is a ruin.
The shipwreck, that was a Castilian merchant. It's been here for some years. Other than that, there's a Cyrenith temple on the top of the hill.
Has anyone been to it?
We've had a look around.
And was there anything strange?
Not that we noticed, but you can never be too sure. We haven't had time to excavate it, but if we're lucky, there could be some artifacts, and they fetch a pretty penny.
They can do more than that.
They can do more than that, Marguerite.
Hey. So what is this nation to be of if not pirates?
Oh, it'll be formed by pirates.
Who become what?
Whatever they want to be.
What if they wish to be pirates?
Then they still will be. I have no wish to govern or rule. I've met your captain. I trust your captain. And Kid vouches for you. We're going to need reliable people. Whether it be for supplies, governance, or protection, at this point, it is principle only. As you can see, there's nothing here other than a bay that's protected by this from the sea and enough fresh water to supply a good amount of people.
It is a nice island, that is true. Well, I am with our captain in this matter. Whatever he says goes.
He nods and he says, I will give your proposition proper consideration. Not something to be decided in a day.
All right, we're back in Castile.
And a messenger comes to the ship, and he has a sealed by wax letter.
Ooh.
He hands it over to one of the sailors, who comes and finds Marguerite, and he's like, "Messenger for your mom."
A messenger. Merci. She will take it.
And it's Roberto's. You see his wax seal.
Okay, she will break the seal and open the message.
And he says the individual we are looking for is living in a small town called Weismark. She is a teacher and is there still.
Okay.
7th Sea, starring Emily as Marguerite, Shadow as Fenric, RavenInsane as Catalina, Ghost as the teller of stories. 7th Sea is released by Chaosium Games and written by John Wick. Some of the sound comes from Sirenscape.com. You can find us at critfail.com.